Hey everyone, you're watching Unexpected Fellowship. My name is Felix and I'm about to draw my life. So my mom and my dad were about 2 years younger than I am now when they had me. My mom was studying art and my dad political science in Montreal. And as it happens with many unstable families with unexpected babies, they separated when I was 1 year old. I was so young at the time that I don't have any memories of them actually being together at all. I grew up moving from one house to another. Despite all of that, and my parents not having very lucrative jobs, I always had everything I needed growing up. When I got to elementary school, both my parents had found other significant others, and around when I was 7 years old, my brother came along on my dad's side. I didn't get along at all with his mother, which was jealous and possessive of my dad. He wasn't happy either. This disturbed me quite a bit as I was used to being an only child. At school, I was being difficult. I was hiding behind the supply cupboard and stealing confiscated objects to give them back to their owners. It got to the point where they had to actually kick me out of school. The only other school that accepted to have me was an alternative school, and the condition was that I had to take Ritalin. I might have been difficult, but I was not hyperactive. The meds made me very moody, almost bipolar. I don't have many memories from that time, and most of them aren't good ones. I remember going from one social worker to another, not really knowing what they were for. I didn't have many friends at school, and the others found me crazy. Meanwhile, around when I was 9, my mom had a little girl. Her dad was this really cool guy who played music and made guitars for a living. My best friend at the time was a guy named Steph, which I'm still friends with. Steph lived with his mom near Ottawa, and I met him when he was visiting his father in Montreal one summer. When it was time to go to high school, Steph moved all the way to Vancouver. I only saw him during the summers, which made me pretty sad. We would play video games and read Dragon Balls in his basement. Around that time, I stopped taking meds since my high school didn't require me to take it. Things got much better for me by that point. I suddenly started making friends and my grades got better and better. I didn't have any more mood swings either. I also had music lessons at school, which I loved. I took trumpet and practiced my instrument so much that by the end of the year, I was first trumpet in the high school harmony. And I was only in my first year. I was playing with the last year students and felt like I was actually accomplishing things. As time progressed, I started doing what you would expect a teenager to do, both the good and the bad. I started hanging out with the cooler kids, I smoked cigarette, I was doing a bit of underage drinking and I hosted party every other weekend in my garage. I had a couple girlfriends during that time also, and one of them completely broke my heart to pieces. I remember my mom not knowing what to do as I was just crying my face off. After that, I just couldn't get attached as much with girls. Anyway, I still kept in touch with my friend Steph. He introduced me to this MMORPG game, and I would play online with him and his friends. Meanwhile, I started learning the piano and music theory and started to band with other friends. By that point, I had little to no interest in school. I just kept going there to socialize and go to music class. My grades were getting bad, and I was failing. I eventually quit high school altogether and lost my friends one after the other. My only link to school was my band, which I was still playing with. During my days, I would play that online game even if Steph wasn't playing. I became addicted to it. I played for about 1 year, most of every day, and learned English through it. I got so sick and tired of staying home and doing nothing but play that I borrowed some money and took a plane alone to Vancouver to see Steph and a few of his friends that had become friends of mine by playing that game. I stayed there for a month, and by the end I had become completely bilingual and I had quit smoking cigarette. When I came back, I fell right back into my cycle of video game addiction. I had a full-blown depression. I thought about ending my life almost every day. My self-esteem was completely gone. I didn't like the person that I had become, and I felt like my future was going nowhere. I had gained some weight, and my parents were threatening to kick me out. So I took a plane to Vancouver again, stayed there for 2 months, and there I realized that I wanted to live there eventually. This gave me a goal and made me get a move on. So when I got back, I really started working on myself. First, I quit that online game, then I went to cooking school. I got a gym membership, and around that time, I discovered YouTube, John and Hank. I met this girl through the community, and together we had a road trip from Montreal to VidCon. I went back to school after that to finish high school, and now I'm still doing that, and also I got a job in a bakery. I'm now working on YouTube to be a more important part of my life. I'm working on myself, and for the first time in a while, I actually like who I am and who I am becoming. I've started taking singing lessons, boxing lessons, I see a therapist, I have a very active social life, and I'm involved in my local nerdfighter community. And so now I just want to know what's gonna happen next. Thanks for watching.